Coming up on News Desk, at least 13 people have died in an accident at Ohinin Kwantania, Konongo in the Ashanti region. Several others who got injured in the accident, including a toddler, are receiving treatment at the Konongo Odumase Government Hospital. We'll take you live to the scene for updates. Borno East region records significant decline in COVID-19 cases. What's accounting for this? We'll hear more from health authorities in the region. Former Energy Minister Boakye Jaku warns governing NPP against imposing a presidential candidate on the party ahead of the flag bearership race. More as he demands the party make space for delegates to elect a candidate of their choice to lead them into the 2024 polls. We have business and sports as part of this package. Great to have you here. My name is Israel. I do stay for details. In our very first story, a toddler and a woman believed to be a police officer are still on admission at the Konongo Odumase Government Hospital after a ghastly accident which claimed the lives of 13 people on the spot. The 13 people died after a DAF truck carrying several bags of pepper rammed into the middle portion of a commercial bus at Ohinin Kwantania, Konongo. According to the Police Motor Transport and Traffic Department, the accident occurred at 10:50 p.m. on the main Kumasi Achima Road. The DAF truck with registration number AC17922 loaded with 600 bags of fresh pepper traveling from Kumasi to Accra upon reaching a sharp bend at Ohinin Kwanta ran into the rear of a man diesel articulated truck with registration number GW356913, which was ahead of him. My colleague Ohim Interior is heading to the scene and he will be joining us in a bit to bring us a live update on the situation on the ground. Chief of Kuntenase in the Bosomchi district of the Ashanti region warns the president to ensure construction of the Kumasi-Bosomchi road continues after his visit. Construction of the road has stalled intermittently since it started in 2018, with contractors periodically abandoning the road. Berima Amankwa Edunan Bebio attested to the return of the contractor in the past few days. He says unless the necessary action is taken, the road contractors Kofi Job Construction will pack out. Nana Achima followed the president on his three-day visit to the Ashanti region.
Akufo-Addo paid a courtesy call on the Asante Hene as part of a tour of the Ashanti region.
I'm saying Kumasi Kwana Sanjuma Kwan Yehusa wo brand me bresoda. See here and say Yamamu South na Nyama ewo yeah 1D 1F yeah airport no one be call London nearby. Now the other things Bankra delay kakraba ho afi em say yehu ano be kwan ebitumi afama aje no ashase. So there are several projects
Asante Hene believes regular visits to project sites will help the president to accurately update himself on the state of progress.
Obetua process wo mu anu onu ade na so atie no de nani ehunu dan se ba bia atie no ye beka de de ne ye ka kire wo na wa upie se na akohunu anu ahu se enwuno na akohunu ye ba bi nso a ekoyie no ma ware chechire se wudi anim wo ye adwuma papa nso.
Through such visits, appropriate decisions will be taken to the benefit of the government. The Asante Hene, however, wants the president to ensure development in the Ashanti region in delivering of its mandate.
Ekotue yeka ho eja na brɛ no na nso ye wo se edibie enyame mo ani se fa kotuatua nkrofo ani fa bitua wani no ati kwansa ansa na de aka no wache ayesa de wuhunu ba bia akokodura na wo ho no wo sesa egina ho na de
As part of the visit, the president inspected progress of work at the Kumasi airport. The upgrade of the airport to international status is 77% complete and is expected to be completed by August next year. Project consultant Nana Ametepe says the existing airport building would be demolished when the new edifice is completed.
The project constitutes the terminal building, a new terminal building, which is about 12,000 square meters. And then we have the new network, which is coming into here, which is about 4 kilometers, dual carriage road, which will now has been on a traffic model to ensure that the anticipated passenger of 1 million throughput a year can be facilitated through this airport without traffic, both in and out. The current runway is 1.98 kilometers, and we are building 2.3. So the existing control tower height will not allow you to see the furthest extent of the runway. And hence, there was a need to build this one, which also has more sophisticated equipment. And because the whole project includes airside work, which includes the areas where the existing terminal is, we need to migrate the airports from the terminal where it is and bring them here to function. And then that area will be demolished and to allow for the 4-5, all the buildings to be done. So we believe that by come next year, August, this whole entire airport will be functional.
For Joy News, Nana Achima, Kumasi.
In another development, the Institute of Engineering and Technology Ghana has charged road and building engineers to place professionalism over monetary considerations. The institute says many roads and structures that have been constructed and supervised by some engineers in the country do not stand the test of time. This situation, they say, has become a dent on many engineers across the country. At the induction of 40 new engineers to the institution, a senior lecturer at the University of Cape Coast and member of the institution, Dr. Ebenezer Ankomah called on engineers to seek counsel before embarking on a project to project the image of engineers in Ghana. Richard Kojo has more in the following report.
It is very common to see many roads that were constructed in recent times developing potholes and buildings that have pronounced structural defects. The Institution of Engineers and Technology says such things are giving engineers in the country a very bad name. A senior lecturer at the University of Cape Coast and a member of the Institution of Engineers and Technology Ghana, Dr. Ebenezer Ankomah says such engineers should be wary of the bad name they are earning for all engineers in the country.
Look at the roads that we've been constructing, the buildings in this country. You look at them, you construct a road today, the next day is not good. The construction, collapse of the construction, the iron roofing sheet, they are fading off. What is happening? Engineers are supposed to make sure that these things are good. And I believe all these roads that we are talking about, all these manufacturing companies and other people, the engineers there, what are they doing? It's because they are not coming out well to defend their profession, to defend their ethics. Because if you don't do it, you'll be fired. If you don't do it, something will happen to you. I'm urging all engineers to be bold enough to defend our professionalism, to defend our ethics. So I don't do something by pay an instruction of somebody because we are afraid. So there shouldn't be any fear and panic so long as the engineering practice is concerned.
Immediate past president of the Institution of Engineers and Technology Ghana, Emmanuel Kwesi-Buedu, advised the inductees to exercise some caution and seek proper counsel before they embark on any project.
Profession, it has to do with standards, specifications, so that you'll be able to execute a project.
Returning to our earlier story on the president of the Ashanti region and to Nana Achima, who is with the president. Nana, we understand the president is still in the region. What is he being up to?
So the president commenced his tour to the Ashanti region on Friday, and it's actually a 4-day working visit to the region. He has been to a number of places, including inspecting various projects that the government is undertaking in the Ashanti region. the Kumasi Airport, which is being upgraded into an international status, was the first place the president visited on his first day of the Ashanti region. Now, some of the key projects that he has visited include the Achima Road, that's a road linking parts of Kwadaso through to Trebum. And the road has been in a very deplorable manner for a very long time. Under President Akufo-Addo in 2018, the efforts were made to commence the construction of this road, but it has since stalled. Occasionally, the contractors on the road break, and it is causing a lot of problems for the people in the community due to the fact that some of the bridges on that road are partly done. Whenever it rains, it floods some homes in the area. The road is so bad that people find it difficult to move on the road. So when the president visited the area, residents in this community gathered to welcome the president and also tell the president about the concerns about the kind of work the contractor is doing in this area. So we had the opportunity to speak to them, and many of them were unhappy with the construction ongoing and want the president to take urgent steps to ensure that the road is fixed and that so that it doesn't bring any challenges onto them. And another road issue that we witnessed in the Ashanti region was the Bosumtwi Road. When the president went to the Bosumtwi Road, we found a number of tracks on the road. Even though, according to the chief of Konongo, the project has stalled for some time due to the president's visit to the area. According to the chief, the contractor, Konongo Construction, brought all his equipment onto the road to a sort of show the president that he's still on site. But according to the chief and residents of the area, the contractor is not on site, and this is a major road that links Kumasi to Bosumtwi. Lake Bosumtwi is a tourist attraction center in the Ashanti region, and it's one of the income generating ventures for the assembly. So the people there were happy with the kind of construction ongoing there. The president also inspected some school projects in the area, among others. Yesterday, the president commissioned an NHIA office at Bapai. Today, the president will continue the tour of the Ashanti region with Neoplan. We know that for some time now, Neoplan has ceased production of buses for on commercial purposes, on commercial basis. So today, we're expecting the president to go to the place and find out what exactly is going on there. The last time we spoke to managers of the assembling plant, they say government has ceased to invest in the company, and also government has ceased sourcing buses from the company. So if government is able to at least give them 15 buses to manufacture annually, they will be back on their feet and they will be as vibrant as expected. So today the president will go to Neoplan, and from there he'll move to Obuasi to also inspect some projects and cut short for the construction of some projects at Obuasi.
Thank you very much, Nanea Juma, bringing us that update there on the president's visit to the Ashanti region. Let's take you back to the Konongo accident and my colleague Achima, who has been speaking with an eyewitness.
For me, I might say I back of my hand and my knee and my toe. The pepper pour on us. We suffered a lot with the pepper. Busted on us.
In terms of the other passengers on board, how would you describe their injury?
Yeah, their injury, there was one injury seriously they have to transfer to Konongo, and then there was a Konongo. But the rest, with the rescuers, they are telling us that most of our 13 members are gone. So sad, so sad.
Well, Achima is still with us, and he will be bringing us a lot more details. He's bringing us a lot more details. So, Achima, what else have we learned from this accident? We know so far that 13 people have died and a number of people are injured. How are the injured faring in hospital? Right, so we're still trying to reestablish that connection with Achima, who has the police on standby to speak with us and give us the very latest in this accident that we're learning happened at Konongo Oheming. So, yes, I can see you at the accident scene. What more can you report?
Yes, Israel. This is the spot where 13 people lost. Here is Ohinin Kwanta.
So it appears the connection is not too good, but we will go back to Hemingway for the very latest. Like you can see, he's at the scene of the accident. And right, we have Oheming on the phone. Hello, Oheming. What more can you report?
Fresh and filled all over the place here. It is on the
place here.
Right, unfortunately, we'll have to move on because the connection is not so great. But the number of COVID-19 cases in the Borno East region has seen a significant decline after health authorities instituted strict measures to help curb the spread of the disease in the region. The region, which was tagged as an emerging hotspot in the country by the Ghana Health Services, currently has a total of 7 active cases, a sharp decline from the August figure of 742 cases. This, according to the Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Fred Adumaku-Boateng, is as a result of measures put in place by the Regional Security Council to curb the rising spread. We will bring you that story after the break. We're taking a break now. Do stay tuned. Now, former Energy Minister Boakye Agyarko is warning the governing MPP against imposing a presidential candidate on the party ahead of the flag bearership race. According to the former minister, the party should make space for the delegates to elect a candidate of their choice to lead them into the 2024 polls. In an interview with my colleague Chrissy Parker-Wilson, the former campaign manager officially declared his interest in leading the MPP into the 2024 polls.
Things have been thrown about the next successor to the president. Is Mr. Boakye Agyarko interested in the seat?
Absolutely.
You are interested in one for the president?
Look, 2008, I was a contestant, one of the 17. I stayed to pay my dues. I consider myself fit for purpose. So I will not resile from that ambition or that objective. But at the end of the day, it is for the grassroots to decide. We have a process. This party has never accepted coronation or imposition. It is not. It is against our DNA. You can go back to the beginnings of our tradition. J.B. Danko had to contest. He almost lost. Buzia had to contest. And in that wise, people like Joe Apia, Azozo, Hatton Mills, they all left to form the Justice Party. Buzia was contested. Victor Usu was contested by the likes of J.H. Mensah and Dr. Kwam Safud. Professor Edubwahi was contacted by the likes of Kodia, Bilson, Kufuor, and all of them. Kufuor was contested famously by Nana-Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Nana-Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo was also contested famously by Alan Chisamati. So this party has a process that must be gone through to elect and confirm its leader.
Is it your suspicion that there seems to be an imposition of a candidate on the party?
No, what I'm saying is that there is a process. That process will be respected. And it is that process that throws up the leader of the party. If wishes were horses, beggars would ride.
The former energy minister also challenged the accusers to show proof of acts of corruption in his handling of the controversial Ameri deal, insisting the allegations against him will not impact negatively on his desire to lead the MPP.
If they have muscles, if my critics have muscles, let them flex. I am a bona fide son of this party. I am a founding member of this party. I have worked hard and long in this party. So if anybody thinks that I don't have credentials, otherwise, how did I become campaign manager?
Well, we've transited from that. I mean,
yes, you cannot become
allegations in recent past.
Like what?
The first process about your alleged involvement in the Ameri deal.
alleged.
Yes.
Let he who alleges make them prove the case. You can't allege and let just an allegation stand. It is only Hajia Fatimata Alige who alleges and let it stand. He who allege must prove. But at the appropriate time, that issue will be fairly answered to the discomfiture of a lot of people. At the end of the day, every politician is going to have an allegation against them. That is the nature of politics. That is the nature of our society. I am not afraid of allegations. So long as my conscience and my heart are clear, I fear no foe. Those will not impact in any way, shape, or form my political career going forward. My contribution to this party is solid. I am proud of it, and I will continue to serve this party.
Stalwarts and financiers of the new Pediatric Party in the Upper West region are fuming over the delay by government to honor certificates of contractual work they executed. They stated they have now been frustrated and have to sell their heavy earth-moving equipment like excavators to pay for their school fees and for the upkeep of their families. Chairman of the Upper West chapter of Club 16, Alhaji Abudi Jangu, a group formed by the party in the run-up to the 2016 election to raise funds to support the campaign, stated they generously donated to that cause, but it appears they have now been forgotten and have now been left to their fate. Alhaji Abudi Jangu made this statement during the Upper West Regional Conference of the NPP in Wa. Joining us, Upper West correspondent Rafiq Salam reports.
Despondency, dejection, neglect, anger, regret, and fond faces of stalwarts of the Upper West Region's NPP at the annual regional conference of the party mirrors the growing restrained anger and discontent among faithful of the Dankwa Dombo Buzia tradition in the region.
We do apologize for that. We're taking a break. We'll be back with you shortly.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Business. My name is Darrell Kyle. Key among findings by the African Center for Economic Transformation Asset on the political economy of national development banks in Ghana is the involvement of the government of the day in operational affairs of the banks. Now, with ADB and NIB in focus, the research showed that the two banks are still focused on the development agenda of government. Head of Private Sector Development at Asset, Charles Odum, recommends the restructuring of governance arrangements of development banks and says that could shift the bank's main purpose of impacting the society. More in this report. Senior Director of Research and Advisory at the African Center for Economic Transformation, Edward Brown, explains the main rationale behind the conception of the research is to propose ways to solve credit and financing problems of financial institutions in Africa. You're speaking at a validation workshop on a research conducted by the African Center for Economic Transformation Asset on the topic, the political economy of national development banks, ADB and NIB in perspective. According to him, the research has been conducted to aid the formulation of policies to further strengthen operations of development banks in Ghana.
From last year, we took on the challenge to engage directly with the private sector to provide a very holistic and cheap financing, if I may say so. And so looking at this, we've actually commissioned a number of different studies where we look at how do we de-risk financing into the SME sector.
Lead consultant at Asset, Professor Joshua Abo, is optimistic that the Development Bank Act 2020 could realign development banks back to their main purpose.
If you want to look at these institutions as development banks, then we need to look beyond profit making. So performance will not be looked at in terms of profitability, but also in terms of the developmental impact, because from the discussion, we define what development banks are. Development banks are set up to achieve socio-economic objectives or goals. And so if you are looking at it in terms of making sufficient profit to get you going, and at the same time achieving your developmental objectives or impact, they will say you are really operating as a development bank.
Head of Private Sector Development at Asset, Charles Odum, says the restructuring of the governance arrangements of development banks could be a first step in ensuring maximum results are achieved.
By definition, the government has a majority share in the development banks. So there would always be some kind of political interference. The question is, what is the nature of the governance arrangement that allows the development banks to operate within a framework which is developmental oriented? And what we're trying to assess today is to see the extent to which these banks, which have been developed, established over the last 30, 40 years, whether or not the institutional arrangement, the governance arrangement are still fit for purpose.
And that's your business update.